Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of source material that tackles a really specific, kind of profound modern paradox. We live in this era where we have the absolute perfect vocabulary to describe our mental states, right? But ironically, we're becoming almost entirely disconnected from our actual physical bodies. It's a phenomenon called the quiet trap, and we're going to unpack exactly what that means. The text kicks off with this incredibly striking thought. Sometimes we learn to explain ourselves so well that we stop noticing ourselves. I mean, really think about that for a second. As a culture, we are so intellectually advanced when it comes to mental health. We can completely analyze our reactions. We recognize our behavioral scripts, and we can pinpoint exactly why we're feeling overwhelmed. But the author gently points out a trap here. We're using all this vast knowledge to perfectly explain our state, which, surprisingly, subtly allows us to avoid actually feeling it.
So let's get right into part one, the illusion of self-knowledge.
It turns out our intellectual mastery over our own psychology has actually become a highly effective hiding place. Just look at the sophisticated words we use every single day. Anxiety, trauma, boundaries, burnout, self-regulation. We throw these terms around flawlessly, right? We can tell our friends exactly why we're triggered. But the source material argues that this gives us a totally false sense of control. We're doing all this heavy processing up in our minds, while the physical body is just completely ignored, left waiting on the sidelines.
Which brings us to part two, life in the head.
The author explains that so many of us have essentially relocated our entire existence up into our minds. We treat the body like it's just background noise, like a radio left playing in another room that we don't really have to listen to. But why do we do this? Well, it all comes down to adaptation. When you're under relentless pressure, ignoring your physical needs isn't a sign of weakness. It's a biological survival mechanism. If the stress doesn't stop, your nervous system literally chooses survival over comfort. It shuts down those signals for hunger, fatigue, and fear just so you can keep functioning and keep surviving. And the text brilliantly illustrates the hidden danger here. It says, to the outside, it looks like strength. In reality, it's a loss of sensitivity to one's own state. This is exactly why highly responsible, incredibly successful people can go years, literally years, without realizing they are completely exhausted. From the outside, they're holding it all together, but on the inside, they're drifting further and further away from their actual physical reality.
Moving on to part three, when the body speaks.
Here's the thing. The body always knows the truth before the mind does. It is way faster than our explanations and way faster than our habit of just saying, "Oh, I'm fine." Eventually, the body gets completely tired of whispering. When those suppressed physical signals finally break through the intellect's defenses, they don't ask, they demand attention. We're talking insomnia, chronic fatigue, a racing heart, appetite changes, or even this bizarre sudden inner emptiness where your passion used to be. These aren't just random ailments. This is your body speaking up when it absolutely cannot tolerate being ignored anymore. And what do we usually do when this happens? Because we're intellectual creatures, we immediately try to logically figure out what went wrong. We ask, okay, what's the mechanism here? What psychological theory explains my insomnia? But the text makes such a profound observation. The intellect searches for a mechanism, but the body just needs contact. You literally cannot outthink physical exhaustion. You can know exactly why you are tired and still force yourself to keep working. Knowledge just isn't enough here. This highlights what is arguably the emotional climax of the whole piece, the stark contrast between our two operating systems. The mind seeks meaning. It constantly asks, what is happening? But the body? The body is much simpler. It scans for safety and just asks, can I relax? Is it safe for me right now? If the answer from your nervous system is no, it does not matter how well your mind understands the situation. You're going to remain in a state of high alert. This perfectly explains a phenomenon the author calls the void after victory. Have you ever worked tirelessly for a long-term goal, and when you finally achieve it, instead of feeling relief and joy, you just feel empty? Usually we blame ourselves, right? We think we chased the wrong dream, but the source text gives us a purely biological explanation. Your nervous system is simply stuck in a mobilized state. It's forgotten how to power down. As the text so powerfully puts it, for many of us, tension has become the background. Calm feels foreign, uncomfortable, even suspicious. We've lived in this state of, I just need to do this, just a little more, I'll rest later, for so long that true relaxation actually triggers our defense mechanisms. Our bodies literally do not trust the quiet anymore. So how do we get out of this? Let's look at part 4, the path to wholeness.
The real beauty of this explainer's source material is that it guides us completely away from those dramatic, intense self-improvement formulas. The solution here is incredibly quiet and unglamorous. There are no loud insights required, no biohacking quick fixes. You don't need a brand new psychological framework. The way back to yourself is through simple, almost invisible, quiet check-ins.
It's all about actually listening to your body's baseline needs in everyday life. Notice tiredness before you reach total exhaustion. Stop working before a breakdown forces you to. Eat because your body is genuinely hungry, not just because a schedule said so. And just feel when your shoulders are tense during the day. These seem super small, right? But the author argues that this, not some heroic, expensive retreat, is where true, genuine recovery actually begins.
Which brings us to a beautiful reiteration of the core thesis. Sometimes we lack contact, not knowledge. We've got to stop living exclusively through these theoretical explanations of our lives. You already know enough about yourself. What you really need is to make physical contact with your present reality again. It's all about making proactive shifts. Learning to feel again means catching the signals early on. It's feeling the anxiety before it becomes a full-blown panic attack, feeling the hunger before the inevitable blood sugar crash, feeling the absolute need for silence before you hit sensory overload. It's trading in that white-knuckled survival mode for the ability to just exist safely in your own skin.
And the ultimate goal of all of this? Wholeness. Because reconnecting with your body doesn't mean you have to abandon your brilliant mind or stop analyzing things altogether. It just means returning to a state of complete human aliveness. You get to be someone who analyzes, thinks, and holds things together, and someone who notices, breathes, rests, and recovers. You get to be whole.
I want to leave you with this final, lingering thought from the text to just sit with for a moment. Are you trying to learn more about yourself, or are you finally ready to hear yourself? It might just be time to put down the psychology books, stop intellectualizing your burnout, take a deep breath, and just feel exactly where your shoulders are right now. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope this brought you some clarity and maybe just a little bit of quiet. See you next time.